Y'all, we got to talk about the state election board and election integrity. If you're serious about election integrity, you cannot allow what I'm about to tell you to just pass without raising your voice. So, all y'all who show up to state election board meetings and you're beating the drum about election integrity, I need to talk to you for a minute because what I saw recently, there's no amount of spin to justify it. This is a special episode of Peach Fun at the Podcast. It's a quick hit. We're not going to have a full-blown episode, but what has transpired is so important. I felt I had to come to you and our listening audience to let you know what's happening because it's not acceptable. And before I start, I need to give you a disclosure, full disclosure. Janelle King, who is a member of the state election board, was once a contributor at Peach Pundit. There was a time that if you tried to tell me she hung the moon, I would have entertained your arguments. I really have thought very highly of Janelle King over the years. But her tenure on the state election board has completely and totally disabused me of that notion. Stuff like what I'm about to tell you is why. Because when I watched the Blue Ribbon Committee on Election Process hearing from August 28th, I was dumbfounded. And I watched every minute of this hearing. It's my job. It's what I do for a living. It's important that I understand what is happening in the world of elections. But I wasn't just dumbfounded. I got angry because we heard a sitting member of the state election board defend the idea that if a campaign gives away gas cards or money cards to every voter in Georgia to go out and vote, that it's fine because there's no quote unquote imbalance. The mind-numbingly stupid logic is that if everyone gets paid by a campaign to go vote, it's not a problem because everybody's getting paid by that campaign to go vote. That came from Janelle King. And I'm sorry, but it's disqualifying. Unless you think I'm making this up or I'm spinning it in some way, let's just go look at the video.
So, were you here when Member Gazal was testifying?
Absolutely.
Okay. She mentioned a case that was put in front of the SEB where a campaign gave out gas cards and money cards. It was branded with the campaign's logo. I believe it was the Herschel Walker campaign.
Yes.
And was that a case that came up before you in your tenure on the state election
No,
board?
that was before me, and I've told Member Gazal over and over again that I disagreed with those actions.
I would love to know more about why you disagree.
Well, the same reason why I disagree with Lyft. Anytime you are incentivizing a portion of the voters to go and vote, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, that's a problem. And so with Lyft, whenever you have a situation where you have certain people getting notifications that they can get discounted rides to the polls, but other people are not, then that's a problem. And I was told that this was offered to everybody, but I have a Lyft account. I never was offered that.
When you say certain people, do you know how Lyft identified certain people and what people those were?
Well, I don't. It doesn't matter. The fact is, it wasn't everyone.
Listen to how she frames that. The issue is not that paying voters is wrong. The issue is the width of the distribution. But that's not how the law works. And that's not how integrity works. Equalizing a felony does not make it less of a felony.
So, in your view, if the Herschel Walker campaign had given money cards to everyone in Georgia, then there wouldn't have been a violation?
No. No. If everyone is giving gas cards to go to the poll, every voter in the state of Georgia, then how is that creating any type of imbalance?
This is not a fairness game show. It's election law. You cannot ethically buy voter turnout, not for some voters, not for all voters. If your North Star is no imbalance instead of no bribery, you don't belong anywhere near enforcing our election code.
So if the Herschel Walker campaign had branded material giving everybody in Georgia money to go to the polls, you don't see a problem with that?
I thought I just said that I did.
I was just confirming because it's an outrageous.
I don't know. I guess I'm a little confused. I know. I thought I just said that. Yeah, I just said that I did have an issue with it primarily because of the fact that I felt like it was only given to a portion of voters and not all voters.
And I'm asking you if everyone received a gas card from the Herschel Walker campaign. Based on your logic, there would not be an issue there?
No. What would be the imbalance? Where would the imbalance be?
Well, because there's probably a Senate candidate from the other party that isn't, or other candidates that don't
They
have.
could do the same thing.
Okay. All right. So it's your position that as long as everybody in Georgia gets some kind of benefit, there's no issue.
Absolutely. If we're going to give a benefit, everybody should get one.
Okay. Okay.
Equal opportunity bribery is still bribery. I might put that on a t-shirt. This idea that she's articulating turns elections into a coupon war instead of an election or a contest of ideas. It invites the richest campaigns to treat voters like a Sky Miles program. Future elections would be auctioned off to the highest bidder. Again, this mindset is disqualifying. And if you're curious what the law says, I'll tell you, because it's a felony to give or receive money or gifts for the purpose of registering or voting. If you want to look it up, it's OCGA 21-2-570. Federal law has the same clause in it. The state election board has recognized a very narrow postage exception for mailing registration or absentee materials, and that exception does not include gas cards or money or swag, t-shirts, hats, because those are things of value tied to voting. You know why? Because that's called vote buying. Equal treatment does not convert a felony into a good idea.
That's interesting. It's not what I expected you to say, and that is wild.
I know. I'm pretty sure that's why you asked.
That's great.
The state election board's mission is to promote uniformity, legality, and purity in our elections. If you're on the state election board and you tell a legislative committee that mass vote buying would be just fine, so long as it's universal, you've announced to the world you don't understand the most basic guardrails of election law. You cannot credibly judge complaints that are brought before the board. And you can't write rules that the counties can count on. And if you can't do any of that, you cannot serve. So here's what needs to happen. The House put Janelle King on the board. And King said in her opening statement to the committee yesterday that the speaker can remove her. And I think that time has come. She needs to go. If you want Georgians to trust elections, you have to start somewhere. And that starting point is by insisting that the people who police the rules actually know the rules. This is not the first time she has stepped in it when she has shown that she doesn't understand the process. So she needs to be removed, replaced with somebody who understands the law and respects voters. Then maybe we can get back to the boring task, what's supposed to be the boring task of running our elections. And there were a lot of things said during that legislative hearing yesterday that were objectively outrageous. And this is just the cherry. Here at Peach Pundit, we're going to cover more of it in the coming days because this board is not functioning the way the legislature has intended. I don't even think you can make a credible claim that it's functioning at all. It may be time for it to be disbanded and we can start over from scratch. I don't know. That's up to the legislature. But what I saw from that committee hearing the legislature would be completely justified in making that real. I mean, the only difference between that hearing and a Jerry Springer episode is that no one threw a chair. Georgians deserve better. So let's do better. Thank you for listening. My name is Scott Turner for the Peach Pundit. Catch you next time.